What's up? What's up? Oh, we got the thumbs up. There you go. Yeah, we here. We here.
It's not on my app.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to everybody.
Historic night on the presidential debate. Very interesting, to say the least.
Yep.
So we're gonna recap this, man. You know, this is an impromptu thing. We haven't done this, but it's important, and we're trusted sources in the world of journalism. So we thought it would be important to do this. So we are going to have a very fair, keyword discussion, and we're going to hear from both sides of the aisle, and then we'll probably add our commentary in as well. So I think some of our Democratic friends are going to join us in a few, but first we have a Republican voice that is going to join us. So let's bring her up.
Let's do it,
please.
Let's do it.
How's it going?
Hey, good evening, good night.
Hello. It's going good. It's been a very entertaining past hour, to say the least.
It's been entertaining.
Good choice of words.
So Whitley Yates, political strategist and media expert, founder of the Niche Agency, and is the leader in the Indiana Republican Party. Is that correct?
I am the actual director of diversity for the Indiana Republican Party.
Director of diversity for
Indiana. Heard that correct.
For the Indiana.
Okay.
What part of Indiana are you from?
Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been.
Shout out. We got one of our partners is from Indiana. He's from East Chicago, Indiana.
We love East Chicago. I love the region.
Okay.
I'm familiar.
All right. So let's get into it. You know, you are a Republican, right? We just saw about 100 minutes of a very spirited debate. We're gonna ask, different questions, but first and foremost, what was your thoughts on the debate?
Let me tell you a little bit about what I was expecting to hear and what I think a lot of Americans were expecting to hear, which was a plan to move America from the current state that it's in into a better one. And when I say the current state, I'm talking inflation, I'm talking the price of gas, I'm talking shrinkflation, I'm talking immigration, and more specifically, me as a Black woman, what are you going to do for the Black community? If you listened to that debate and you felt like you heard that plan, I would be interested to see what they're saying in the chat. I think both candidates went in with two very different missions, to be quite honest. Kamala needed to prove that she actually has a plan. And Trump needed to prove that his leadership is better than hers and Biden's. So they went in there with very different tasks. I think that one of them achieved it and the other one didn't. But I also think that we are the ones who kind of are lost at the end of the day. If you were an undecided voter and you were looking for plans specifically from Kamala, you didn't really hear a lot of that. If you were someone who was looking for policies, you didn't really hear a lot of that. And so I think overall, this isn't going to sway or change too many people's decisions.
When you looked at, even some of the feedback early on, the word unhinged has come up even in this chat. What are your thoughts on the performance by former President Trump? It seemed at times when we heard about eating the dogs, we talked about the FBI not being a reliable source when it comes to data. What are your thoughts around his specific performance tonight?
So this is going to be the easiest answer I have all night, I'm sure. I feel like I always know what I'm going to get with Trump. Like Trump is always going to show up and he's going to be Trump and we're going to be able to know exactly what he's going to say. And he's going to say exactly how he feels. So when he's talking about the FBI not being reliable, me as a Black woman and understanding COINTELPRO, I understand that the FBI is probably one of the least reliable agencies, specifically when they're targeting their political opponents. When he talks about they're eating your pets. Okay, we all got a laugh out of that. But there's a video of a Black man in Springfield talking about he watched them walk up in the park, cut the head off a duck and start eating the duck.
A duck.
Look. This is what he said. Wait. Then there's a video. Hold on. Then there's
I eat duck.
You do like a duck. You do like a duck.
Pecking duck. No, pecking duck.
This is true.
It's different from
a dog. A golden retriever.
Golden retriever.
You cannot run up in the park and cut the head off the duck and eat it. But there's also videos of immigrants going and eating people's cats and being arrested for killing and eating a cat. Like it's real. Like these are things that are happening. There are cultural differences when you have mass immigration and mass migration into this country. Let's not act like it's not something that is happening. It is happening. And I think in totality, when you're looking at what Donald Trump did tonight, he did what he always does. He's going to tell you how great he is. He's going to tell you the things that he's did for the economy. He's going to tell you that she's trash. And then he's going to tell you that he's going to make America great again. And I think that he did all of those things effortlessly.
So now let's get to it. It is 3,500 people on the check, and this is going to be a very big live. We're just getting started. So let me ask you a question, honestly, right? And do you think that he's mentally stable to run the country? Because he says a lot of things that would lend you to believe that he's unhinged. So do you think that he's mentally stable to run the country?
Do you want my honest answer?
Yes, please.
If Joe Biden is mentally stable to be president for the last 4
But Joe Biden's not running.
Finish my answer.
Okay.
If Joe Biden is able to still be president in his cognitive state right now, then Donald Trump is well in position mentally with the acuity to be president. And that should be that's a very clear answer, because the truth is that we've had a president in the White House and we still have one there that has the cognition of a monkey, who has the mental acuity of a dull pencil. And it's just the truth. He doesn't know where he is at all. And so if he's able to lead this nation, the fact that you don't think Donald Trump is, when he just did it 4 years ago, is really laughable.
Well, I'm just asking. All right. Take Biden. I don't think Biden is okay, but I'm just saying Biden's not running for president. So the choices between
he is president.
He's
correct
president now, but he's not running for president.
Right.
So I don't think anybody thinks that Vice President Harris, you might not like her, but she's mentally stable, right? I don't think there's never been a question that she's not mentally stable. So between her mental cognitive ability to actually function on a day-to-day level, you have more confidence in her day-to-day mental stability or Donald Trump's mental stability between those two?
I don't have any question about Donald Trump's mental stability. I don't have any question about Kamala Harris's mental stability. I think that she's well aware of the policies that she has produced in her 21-year career. I think that she's well aware how it's impacted people that look like me, and especially people that look like you, Black men. I think that she is very, very strategic in everything that she does. And tonight was an example of just that.
I want to talk about a few of the issues. Obviously, inflation is something that our audience is very well aware of. Former President Trump talked about it being the worst in history. That's not factually true, right? So, like 9% inflation during the first year of Biden administration is down to 2.9 currently. Fracking was an issue that came up, and we saw, Vice President Harris change her position on that from her 2020 stance. But at the end of the debate, when they talked about the Affordable Care Act, and the question came about 9 years of you having a plan, what is the plan now? I want to know your thoughts around the answer, because we didn't really hear a plan, right? It was try to repeal it 60 times. It didn't work. What is the plan now? What are your thoughts around the party's plan for healthcare going forward?
I think what's going to happen is Affordable Care Act is going to stay in place. One of the hardest things to do is reverse policies, right? It's easy to reverse an executive order or something that is written by the president, but it's a lot harder to reverse some of these negative policies. And while Trump campaigned on reversing affordable care and wanting to fix it, it was one of the things that was very hard to do. And so I do think that something needs to be done within the healthcare system. What I don't think we need is Medicare for all. What I don't think we need is a single payer system, which is one of the things that Kamala Harris wants or wanted. I don't know if she wants it today. She could have wanted it yesterday, but it's one of the things that she wants, where everyone will eventually give up their private insurance and everyone will have government funded insurance. As someone who is currently on Medicaid, and understanding how that has impacted me and the level of care and the level of service that I'm able to get, the wait times at the hospitals and all of these different things. Someone who had Obamacare before, who came out with over $15,000 in healthcare bills with Obamacare, something definitely needs to be done. I'm not necessarily sure that there's a panacea to fix it all, but definitely reducing healthcare costs and making it more transparent is a beginning.
So, all right. So a lot of stuff that they did not get a chance to talk about. Like, you're right. They didn't get a chance to talk about a lot about policy. She had mentioned that she wanted to do $50,000 tax credit, I think, for entrepreneurs.
She called it the opportunity economy, a tax cut up for $6K for families, and then a small business owner's $50,000 deduction for startups.
So you, as a Republican, right? What's your knock on a Democratic economic policy, and what would you have liked to hear Trump? Like, what are you attracted to from Trump's economic policy plan?
I'm attracted to low taxes. It's pretty plain, pretty clear. I want to see low taxes, and I also want to see the opportunities increase for minority businesses. And when I'm talking about opportunities, I'm talking about no bid federal contracts. I'm talking about increasing the amount specifically given for and to 8A businesses through the Small Business Administration. Let's just keep it a buck, right? We know that Democrats are not the biggest proponent of small businesses, and we know that they like to increase taxes consistently. We know that they're not the best friends of small businesses, and we just went through a pandemic where we realized that in this system, policies tend to favor businesses over people. So if you were able to show that you had a business, you were able to get more money than a person that was struggling without a business. So framing this in the true sense of capitalism, what needs to happen from the government is that they need to create a culture for my small business to thrive. And the way that they create that culture is making sure that we have an economy that is successful and viable for our businesses to thrive. And one of the things that she said was she wanted to give us $50,000 for startup small businesses. And I'm thinking to myself, and then what? And then who will get that? Because a lot of times when these policies are predicated specifically by the Democratic Party, they are marketed to us, but they are used and the momentum goes to other groups. They tell us, oh, here's affirmative action, but you look at who's the proponent and biggest proponents of affirmative action, and it's not us. They group us in the minority category, and then we, Black people, are oftentimes cut out of a lot of these policies being beneficial for us. And so her saying that that is what she wants to do, I want to know how she's going to pay for it, how she's not going to raise our taxes to be able to do it, and how this won't go to those who don't look like us getting the majority of this. And also what is defined in her terms as a small business.
Can we bring Bowman up? He's been walking around for the last.
Oh
hour,
man,
so
I see him jumping in.
I don't know if he's able to. I don't know how his audio is going to sound, but let's
see. Let's bring our good friend up here.
Yeah, you good, man?
Hold on, you muted, my brother.
I'm good. I'm here, man. What's going on? Y'all stupid, man. What's going on? What's up?
What's up?
So we can get in this, this way.
What's up, man? You in Las Vegas right now? What are you doing?
Nah, I'm in DC. I just had there was just a watch party at this spot called The Park in DC. Y'all need to do an event here. It's an incredible event. Yeah, I was just at a watch party, so I'm outside, man. I'm chilling. Checking in with y'all, man.
I was just at the watch party too. I think I saw you there.
Were you there too at the park?
Yeah, I was at the park.
And you left talking crazy like that right now? Like what you talking right now?
But
That's
you know,
crazy.
you know what? You know what, Congressman Bowman? She understood that it was going to be thousands of people watching this live, so she left the party early to make sure that she was in a room that she could have quality,
with adequate lighting,
quality audio.
First of all, she's frozen on my screen. First of all,
because we're prepared. Because Republicans like to prepare for stuff like
she's saying she's using the room's Wi-Fi and not relying on the 4G on your phone.
The Democrats looking bad.
Yeah, they are.
My lighting is good. I'm outside. Sound is good. I'm not frozen. Let's go.
Street lights. I love it. Street lights is better than any light.
Congressman Jamaal Bowman of New York, Democratic congressman. You watched the debate. What's your thoughts on the debate?
Trump is wild, man. Trump is off the chain. Yo, he was talking about executing babies after birth. That was wild for the night. He's talking about eating cats and dogs. Wild for the night. Listen, I was here 3 days after. So I was sworn in January 3rd, 2021. 3 days later, there was an insurrection. It was incited by Trump. Yo, Trump said that she wants transgender operations on migrants in prison. Yo, he just says anything. Like, he puts the most, like, the words that's most scary together in a sentence and just puts it out there. And he's like, yo, because he knows his base, they're going to feed all over that shit. Listen, I'm a Democrat, but I'm not, ride or die Democrat. Like, I never criticize us. A lot we need to do better and a lot we can do better. But when we talk about comparison between, Kamala Harris and Trump, to me, it's no comparison. I think she won the debate. She could have even crushed him even more. Like, I wish she would have hit him when he talked about the bad economy and inflation. When I first got here, well, right before, no, I'm sorry, I'm lying. When he first came in, $1 trillion tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans. So if you're one of the wealthiest Americans, absolutely you support Trump. He came in $1 trillion tax cuts for them. That, in addition to no corporate responsibility, is why we have inflation. Because corporations have been raising taxes on your groceries, on everything else, and they haven't come down post-pandemic. And so she's going to go after that, which is part of her economic policy, to bring down those costs. So when we talk about inflation, that's what we're talking about. And again, they didn't get a lot in the policy because he's wild and they just going back and forth on character stuff. But yeah, man, it was, I thought she won the debate. I thought she could have killed him even more. She should have brought up the tax cuts. She should have brought up the tens of billions of dollars that the Biden administration has forgiven in terms of student loans. When he brought up student loans, I'm like, yo, hit him with the data. My wife is one of the people who have benefited. She's a third grade teacher. Student loans canceled. She didn't really hit him with that. A couple of times she could have hit him, but he's just a wild dude. Like, he's wild. And like, if you want, again, the system is broken, corrupt, whatever. That's not because of her. It's because of white supremacy. If you want just complete chaos and anarchy and white nationalism, which is what he represents, cool, vote Trump. But if you're trying to get to some sense of stability, in my opinion, it's Kamala. But as you both know, you heard me talk before, it's not just her. It's how are we holding the House and the Senate accountable and local elected officials accountable to do the right thing by our people.
So, Congressman Bowman, do we know who Abdul is and why his house? What was it?
So that was wild. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yo,
Abdul, I spoke to Abdul. What did he say? I spoke to Abdul. I told him you better not do it. Like, this dude is off the chain, son. And like, again, no, I personally don't know who he is.
Okay, you don't. Okay.
I do not know who he is. But again, that speaks to our foreign policy, right? And again, we still have a foreign policy where we're sending billions of dollars a year to Israel to support a genocide, not just in my opinion, but according to international courts. But we also have a foreign policy that supports child migrants in the Congo mining cobalt with their hands, that supports all of our technology, and they're not getting the financial benefits of that. We also have a foreign policy that supports.
They're not mining cobalt; they're mining coltan. That must be what you're talking about.
Thank you very much.
I gotta fact check you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Even though I still think it might be cobalt, but that's fine.
You probably do. That's probably why you didn't win that re-election.
The point is, there are Black children using their hands in their African country, mining raw materials that the West, meaning white people, meaning Trump's white supremacy, is using to build wealth, and African nations aren't benefiting from that. So that's, again, connected to our foreign policy. It's all fucked up. Listen, the American political system is rooted in white supremacy. And we, on the ground, locally and nationally, need to continue to organize to push against that. So
are you then a part of it? Are you a part of white supremacy and blackface in your position in Congress? Because the truth of the matter is you and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and a lot of these politicians who have been in office for decades. Kamala Harris has been doing this for 21 plus years, almost older than me.
Not in Congress.
Hold up. Listen. Joe Biden has definitely been there longer than me.
We ain't talking about Biden.
Hold on. We're talking about the system. I thought we were just talking about the system.
We are.
1 second. Let me finish. Black man. You have voted to send that money over there. You have voted.
You obviously don't
hold
know.
Hold on. Let me finish, sir.
Let her finish, and then we'll let you respond.
Claiming my time. You have voted and been a part of a party that upholds, built, cultivated, and created these systems. Dare I even say perfected them? And so to sit here and to say that our political system is all of these things when you're in it right now, when a lot of the people that we see coming across our screens and creating the policy have been there for decades. At the end of the day, whether or not Trump is polished or not, because he's been doing this for 4 years versus the person that's been doing it for 21, or before y'all reverse Biden up out of there, who has been doing it for multiple decades, they uphold all of it. And your party in particular has been one who has created policies that have negatively impacted people that look like me and you while sending that money overseas. So I'm just trying to understand, if it's rooted in white supremacy, then are you a white supremacist in blackface that's upholding these structures?
So again, you obviously don't know me and don't know my record to even be talking.
I know you pulled the fire alarm, you lost your election, and now you're sitting outside in DC after having a couple drinks at an event we were just at. I know that's what I know.
Spending his time with our lovely audience, I would say at that. Thank you.
Absolutely, and that's besides the point, that last point you just said. But anyway, the Republican and the Democratic Party have both been complicit in supporting white supremacist ideology. So let's be clear about that. In my opinion, the Democrats still have done more to support working class people and marginalized people in our country. For example, we continue to support Social Security, we continue to support Medicare, we continue to support the Department of Education and other federal offices that serve the most marginalized people. I still want the party to go further with issues like reparations, with issues like the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and many other issues. So just want to be clear about that. Republicans, in my opinion, this modern day Republican Party, we're not talking about 100 years ago, 20 years ago, talking about modern day Republican Party. When I pulled that fire alarm, to use your example, they tried to paint me as one of the insurrectionists from January 6th. That was crazy. They have no policies or very little that support the upliftment of our communities, whether it's affordable housing, whether it's childcare, whether it's paid leave, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's reparations. None of that does this current Republican Party support. And so the system has to change.
Don't gaslight us, right?
I'm not gaslighting. Oh my God!
Don't talk about the things that you guys support when you know that your party wasn't the one that created them. Like, how dare you say that Republicans don't support small or minority businesses? Who wrote the bill for the Small Business Administration to be an administration, for the 8A program, which provides those no bid contracts for businesses like mine to be able to work with the federal government in the way that we're able to work with them. That was a Republican that wrote that bill. There was a Republican that started the Small Business Administration, and the programs that are predicated from the Small Business Administration once again, founded by Republicans. So you can't say that you're supporting these things when the inception of those policies, the inception of Social Security, and the inception of all of these things were predicated by Republicans. But what I will say is that both parties do need to do a better job when it comes to tending to the issues of Black people and speaking to issues of Black people. Absolutely. The problem that we have here is only one of those parties relies on the Black community to stay in positions of power for decades. Only one of them. Only one of those parties promises things every election year, year after year, the exact same things, and produces absolutely no policies for their communities. And I live in a very blue city that was in a red state. I may be in DC right now, but I understand how this works. I used to also live in California when Kamala Harris was my senator, and she was also my attorney general. So I've lived under the rule of both Democrats and Republicans. And what I will say and what I can say is in some of the largest cities that are ran by blue, and I'm talking super majority, the entire council is blue, the mayor is a Democrat, the areas that we live in look the worst. And they rely on us year after year to give them our votes in exchange for absolutely nothing. So at the end of the day, if anybody owes the Black community anything, whether that be policy, whether that be reparations, it is definitely the party that has used our backs to get ahead.
You know, one of the key points of the debate tonight was around another policy, and it was the women's right to choose, the topic of abortion.
Can we bring our other guests?
Yeah, we're gonna bring them out. I want to get both their takes, obviously, because there's gonna be two different stances here. Obviously, as a woman, we saw former President Trump have false claims about Democrats wanting the execution of babies after birth, which, I mean, no state is that allowed. Then he also talked about being a leader in IVF. Vice President Harris talked about her support for Roe v. Wade. So I want to know your thoughts about women's rights to choose as it relates to this election and women in general, specifically Black women.
I mean, I'm gonna let your the other guest. I'm sorry, I can't see her name on the screen. What's her name?
No, you can go ahead. I just had a whole diatribe. Go ahead. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to quickly you mentioned the Small Business Administration, and one of the major problems.
So we're pivoting. Okay, we're going back. Okay.
No, I just need to respond to that.
I just want to make sure.
No, you gave a whole diatribe to your point about the Small Business Administration and how it's a real champion for Black people. And the number one thing Black people lack as it relates to entrepreneurship is capital, which the Small Business Administration is supposed to provide. And when I first got here, I couldn't believe, Brother Rashad and Brother Troy, how the Small Business Administration was funded at like $1-2 million while we were sending $3.8 billion overseas to support a country that is one of the most fiscally responsible and financially wealthy in the world. So we're not even funding the Small Business Administration at the level we need to. So I just want to make that point. In terms of Roe v. Wade, the bottom line is, it's not on the federal government to tell a woman what to do with her body. That choice is between a woman and her doctor, period. All this shit that, Trump talking about, full-term abortions, that's like assassinating a baby. That's crazy, right? What's lost in that is the issue of maternal mortality or maternal morbidity and infant mortality that continues to plague the entire nation and continues to plague Black women disproportionately. We're not talking about healthcare as from a preventative perspective and the institutional racism that persists in healthcare. We're not talking about that because we're talking about this issue of abortion, and then Trump says, wild stuff. And so, again, women could do whatever they want to do with their body. That's not on the federal government to choose. We should support it through the healthcare system. Trump, is on the complete underside of that. Conservatives are as well. And it's just a dangerous precedent, not just for Roe v. Wade, but for the issue of civil rights that we have fought for. The Voting Rights Act, Roe v. Wade, affirmative action, and someone like Trump appointing Supreme Court justices who are then taking that away. So now it's like we're starting at square zero for things we fought for and people have died for during the civil rights movement. So it's all about Are we continuing to evolve as a country towards a liberal democracy and true freedom for everyone? Or are we just going to allow conservative, evangelical Zionists to control what we do and how we think and how we behave?
I guess this is my turn to respond.
Yeah, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Oh, there's so much to say and there's so much to unpack here. As a Black woman who has had a child, what I'm not going to do is downplay infant and maternal mortality rates. It's a very serious issue and a very serious problem. But I'm also never going to tell a woman that she should eradicate the life inside of her, specifically a Black woman. I don't believe
it's their choice, though.
And I let you finish. I sat here so quietly.
It's their choice. I'm not telling.
Very demure.
I just want to be very clear.
Hold on. I was very demure and very cutesy, and I let you speak.
Did you just use the word demure?
Demure.
Very demure.
Thank you. I just want to clarify.
Appreciate it.
I allowed for him to speak, so now allow for me to give my thoughts. I'm not going to ever advocate for a Black woman to eradicate the life inside of her. Now, I am someone who is very much pro-life, and I do believe that it is within the Black community, it is within our nature to be pro-life. My ancestors, my family came over here and were imported on ships with chains made to work in the fields. I am here because they chose life. So enduring rape, enduring slavery, and all of the things that my ancestors had to go through, they consistently still chose to have their children, which is why we're able to be here today. And so what I'm not going to do is have and tell Black women that whatever the circumstances of their life are right now, that the life growing inside of them does not matter. I am someone who was born drug addicted with alcohol in her system. My mother was told to abort me, and she chose to check into rehab to have me. And I'm here on this platform tonight in front of all of these people because she chose life. But what I think that Republicans need to do is shift from being pro-life into pro-livelihood. And being pro-livelihood is, what is the life of that child going to be when it's here? What resources do we have to support that mother? How are we supporting adoption? I'm someone who's adopted. How are we supporting adoption? How are we making it easy for these women to take care of these children that we want them to have? And I think that that's where policy and funds need to flow and go. But telling Black women that they need to eradicate the lives inside of them, I don't think that that's true. And I also think that we should not be using abortion as an answer to some problems, which are the fact that we are having casual sex and we're deciding to have casual sex, and there are repercussions for every action. There's a reaction. So there is a choice to lay down with that man. There's a choice to have unprotected sex with that man. There's a choice not to use plan B, and then there's a choice to terminate. And so if we're not helping women to make better decisions before they get to the choice to terminate, if they know that they are barely surviving themselves and are looking for some type of relief, it's not having an abortion. And I don't think that we should be utilizing that as a method for poor decision-making skills. And I understand in cases of rape, in cases of incest, in cases of life of the mother, as Trump said tonight, but utilizing it as some type of tool and saying that, well, it's your right that you can kill the life inside of you. I just don't believe in that. And I don't believe that that's something that we should be doing. But because it went from the Dobbs decision back into the state's hands, what people can do is decide who you're electing on a state level that makes these decisions for your state. So nothing happened after Dobbs was overturned in California. All of the laws stayed the same. You want to know why? Because the people in California placed people in office to purport the laws that they wanted to see. If you don't like the abortion laws in your state, then you need to get active on your local level and start voting in these state house elections so that you can change the policies on a state level. And those elections are usually every 4 years or every 2 years.
So let's bring up Congressman Bowman. We thank you for your time. We're gonna sub you out. We're gonna sub you out on this.
Oh.
I think he's trying to talk. He's trying to
talk.
talk. Let's bring him up. Go ahead, man.
One quick 30 seconds. And thank you for everything you just said. And I agree. It needs to be a continuing conversation, particularly in the Black community in particular. Absolutely. But when you talk about livelihood, I agree with that as well. But understand from my experience, and I think from evidence, Republicans don't care about our livelihood, man. They haven't shown consistent engagement and caring about Black women in this country, women in this country, the Department of Education, which is critical, funding the Small Business Administration, or reparations, or any of that. They don't care about livelihood. They care about rhetoric and sensationalism and their own power, particularly continuing white supremacy through tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans. And so, but the other stuff that you were talking about continued conversations about what's happening in our communities that leads to poor decisions, I'm with you on that 100%. Let's continue to talk about that. And brothers, thank you so much for having me on, man. Good to see you. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
always, man. Appreciate you.
Always.
Well, that's a parting word for Congressman Bowman. What I would say, since he seems to be a big advocate and proponent of reparations, is for him to go ahead and give Gavin Newsom a call and have that reparations bill that Democrats are keeping from being heard in California. Go ahead and allow that to be heard and utilize his position of power within Congress and the bully pulpit that he has to advocate for reparations movements, such as what's happening in Chicago that is being currently blocked by his own party. That is apparently upholding white supremacy as well.
I think he's still talking.
Yeah, we gotta let him go. We gotta let him go. All right, we got Michael Blake, former assemblyman and vice chair of the Democratic. You were formerly the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, right?
Yes, sir. Good to see you, brothers, again.
Also Obama staffer. Thank you for joining us.
Always good to be with y'all. Whether it be at Carnegie Hall or on IG, we gonna make it all happen out here.
For sure.
Gotta make it happen.
Sure. So yeah, you tagged out Jamaal Bowman, very spirited debate that he was having. So we've been talking about this debate situation, right? And there's a few topics that we have not talked about. One of the main topics that Trump kept bringing up, just leave it like that. Was immigration. He's been hitting this topic hard and some say that it's fear mongering, right? And he's trying to pin people against each other, vulnerable populations against each other when he talks about Black jobs and Latino jobs being taken by immigrants from Venezuela and stuff like that. So, okay, he says that Kamala Harris is the worst vice president in American history, and she's done a terrible job at the border czar. So what is your stance as far as immigration? Even in New York City, has been a major issue for Mayor Adams. So what is your stance as far as the immigration issue in America right now and how the Democrats have approached it?
Well, I appreciate you and appreciate y'all giving the space. I'm going to address immigration right now and also some of the things I heard earlier. So let's start from the place of on the conversation around immigration. If you want to assess Donald Trump as a failure, his fundamental policy proposal that he ran on was to build a wall. So whenever we hear this racist, sexist foolishness from him, we should be very clear that the fundamental thing he said he would get done when he talked about Mexican committing rapists and all these other things was that he would build a wall. Didn't happen. The rhetoric right now around immigration that he's trying to highlight is a framing of what? That our cities are getting worse, even though everything from an economic standpoint, in terms of growth, in terms of cost of living, in terms of what's happening in your pockets, have actually gotten better. Now, the feeling someone may have, you can fix your face all you want. I heard the point about SBA. Actually, just for a point of facts, there were several things that were stated that were utterly incorrect. I ran the minority business program at the White House. It was said earlier around dynamic. There's a difference between minority business and small business. We talk about the actual dynamics intertwined around immigration. The Minority Business Development Agency under President Biden, Vice President Harris actually became an undersecretary. That did not happen under Trump. That's equally tied to the immigration conversation because we talk about jobs and the opportunities that are created by all this. We have better growth in our communities by actually helping our immigrant brothers and sisters continue to get access cap. I'm not even sure well, I heard something about Demore earlier. I'm not sure if that's actually the case because maybe you're not liking what I'm saying. So let's be very clear about the data. The data actually to the immigration question is how are we making this a policy substantive conversation rather than the rhetoric? Too often it is being utilized by trying to say that the Latino community is hurting black folk and so white folks should be scared. Well, as a Jamaican American, I should care about immigration. We should care about these dynamics here, which we do. Well, you can clap your hands all you want. Hold on. We've heard all your talking points. The talking points we also that we have not really talked through is that the vice presidential pick on their side, which Trump actually said in the debate that he doesn't talk to about policies such as abortion and healthcare, was the one talking about Haitians. So from a standpoint around the substance on immigration, where again, immigrant communities are actually making more money under this president than the previous president. We are alive now. Again, I'm not even going to get caught up in it because they can't go back on actual substance between the two presidencies. When we talk through from a dynamic of health and wellness, from a COVID pandemic, which he took no credit around addressing the dynamics, it was immigrant communities that were a negative impact. Now, to your question, moving forward to the brothers here, where we go from here. In terms of the policies itself, I would rather have someone who is actually saying, let's safely and securely address what's going on at the border, not about just trying to build a wall, which is not realistic in this degree, while also finding ways to address what's going on in other countries from a democracy standpoint, which Trump is not doing when it comes to Venezuela and other places, as well as the fundamental economic conditions of why people are coming here in the first place. So all these things are intertwined to the question. And at the end of the day, when we talk about the economics, whether it be internationally or domestically, we have one person who actually laid out an opportunity economy that would benefit immigrant communities, as opposed to the other who is actually trying to push people away. Lastly, it's an immigration conversation, which is entwined all these different dynamics. As a reverend, when I hear earlier that these communities, in particular Black women, need to have responsible decisions and choices, as if they're just being careless and just sleeping around. The notion of that is intertwined. Well, actually, that was what was just said. It was said that they should make better decisions.
It's Friday. It's 95 degrees.
Again.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
95.
Red light on the red light. What do you mean, Pastor?
No, the hot girl summer is over.
It's a hot girl summer.
No, hot girl summer is done.
Degrees.
That's a Memphis thing.
That's crazy.
Oh, they froze him up. They froze him up.
Well,
there's so much.
Rebuttal.
Yeah, I'll add to that because of the immigration point. When former President Trump was talking about the numbers of migrants entering the country, he said it was at over 20 million. I'll let our represent Blake speak in a second. He said the number was 20 million. Political came back, obviously, and fact checked it, said that the number was grossly over exaggerated. It's about half that. Still an issue. But Vice President Harris also said that there was a bipartisan group of senators that introduced a border security bill that Trump urged to demise. So in a sense, you're talking about immigration and how to combat it, but when the bill comes, you don't want it to pass. What's your thoughts and rebuttal to that?
I have a lot to say. I believe, is it Blake? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his last name.
Michael Blake.
Like, I am, okay, I'm going to frame my answer based upon our different experiences. As soon as you said that you were a Jamaican American, it immediately let me know your relationship to this country. And so because your relationship to this country is that you were an immigrant and your family wasn't imported through the slave trade, I understand that you're not a descendant.
It's just not true. It's not true. Let's just stop there. Don't say anything about my family. I was born in the Bronx. You're about to say some nonsense right now.
Yes, you're a Jamaican immigrant.
But let's not even say the nonsense of
claiming my time.
This nonsense of like my family doesn't know this.
As a Jamaican American born in the Bronx, let's keep it. Let's keep it here.
Let's keep
Okay,
it.
he's born in the Bronx.
She's making a point. She's making a point. She's making a point.
Stated he is a Jamaican American. I didn't state that. I'm not a Jamaican nothing. I am a freeman. I'm a descendant of chattel slavery. Me, Whitley Yates, my family. There is no Jamaica. There is no Caribbean for me to go back to. So his proclivity and how he sees this country is going to be completely different than someone who is a descendant of chattel slavery. Completely different. So of course he wants more immigrants here. Of course, immigration, specifically illegal immigration to him, as he stated, is a sign of growth. Of course, he believes that we should be utilizing our tax dollars and our resources to support people who've come over here, who've broken the law to be in this country, because it benefits his family. It benefits the story.
Yo. You can have a policy conversation. I'm gonna say this again.
I just want to not be interrupted.
It's the third time your comments have referenced my family. I just want to be real clear. You can have any policy. You can have any policy. You can have any policy comment. I'm just saying,
I'm talking about
respectfully.
his Jamaican American
All
lineage.
right, so let's respectfully leave family out of it.
Let me say,
we're only going to talk about his lineage, which is Jamaican American, which is what he has.
But you literally rephrased about crime and illegal, and that I supported illegal immigration because we're families. Like, just again, if you want to talk about policies, you can do your policy.
Let's just keep it policy then. Let's keep it policy.
Yet I haven't even gotten to crime yet. I'm talking about illegal immigration and utilizing our tax dollars and our resources to fund and support illegal immigrants. I'm not talking about people who came here with papers. I'm talking about illegal immigrants, 11 million that have crossed, 11 million and counting, that have crossed the border since Biden and Harris, and since Harris has been the border czar, has taken over. I'm talking about the resources of tax dollars that have gone from American citizens to support their housing, to support getting them food. I do not believe that we as Americans, specifically Black Americans that are descendants of slavery, should have our tax dollars utilized for illegal immigrants that have come to this country without going through the proper immigration process that we have currently in order, and get our money and get funded and get $9,000+ in Chicago for rent, and be able to get more money in food stamps and SNAP and TANF and all of these benefits, and be able to utilize our tax dollars to get free legal service. That's happening right in Indianapolis, in my own city. Absolutely not. I think it is the first step to making America not a sovereign nation is to bust open our borders like a bag of chips. I think that is completely wrong. 2, I think it's also completely wrong for us to basically, and this is what it feels like, and whether or not you say this is what it is, it feels like you're abandoning the citizens and supporting the illegal immigrants. I'm gonna let you finish. There are people who have been waiting on lists for them to open up the Section 8 voucher program, the housing choice voucher program. There are people who have been waiting years on a list, people that look like me and you. However, illegal immigrants are getting upwards of $9,000 in housing stipends in Chicago to pay. Like, this is not okay, and it's not right. And the problem that we have, and the problem I have with the Biden-Harris administration, and the problem I have with their policies, is that when they got into office, specifically Biden, he started repealing the Remain in Mexico policies that Trump had put in place. He stopped construction on the border wall that was being constructed. They stopped construction on the border wall, and they basically reversed a lot of the immigration policies that Trump put in place on purpose. Then our borders got busted open like a bag of chips, right? Illegal immigrants jumping across daily, bringing drugs, committing crimes in this country, which this is proven facts that this is happening. You have gangs taking over apartment complexes in Colorado. And so you have failed policy from a federal level, and then you have sanctuary cities, which is failed policy from a city level, and it's compounding. And then you have a group of people, Black people in the Black community, who have been screaming for decades that we need resources in our community, and we're watching resources go out of our community. We're talking about we need to fix our schools because they're bad, and they're shutting the schools down and they're housing migrants in the schools. If the fact that you even think that all of this leads to growth is asinine to me. What I think needs to happen and what I think did not happen, and the reason it didn't happen is because they waited 3 years until the polls came out about how bad that border was, and then they wanted to institute, they being Biden Harris, wanted to institute a policy to remain in Mexico. And then they, in an election year, wanted to create a piece of legislation to say, oh yeah, I guess we do need to fund the border. After Kamala said she wanted to give Medicaid and free healthcare to all the immigrants. We don't even have enough for the American citizens. How you gonna give it to people who aren't even from here, who haven't been paying into our system? I think the entire thing is asinine, and I think it's neglectful to American citizens if you do it.
Are we gonna fact check? Or we just gonna let this?
Can I just say one thing? I'm gonna give it to you. I promise. I'm gonna let you have the floor. In terms of the fact check, he actually brought up the Aurora, Colorado situation with Venezuelan gangs that has been disputed and come to be false. That has been not false. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying what was brought up. Political just put out the fact check sheet. And that was one of the things.
Colorado, mayor of Aurora, Colorado, not me. Failed federal policies.
Not me. I'm just saying when he brought it up, it came up on the political fact sheet as one of those things. But Shadi, I'm giving you the floor, my brother.
Let's reset the room, my brother. Let's reset the room. We do have 5,000 people on a live.
Shout out to everybody tapped in.
Share. This is a very spirited conversation. Okay, I have a feeling that Mr. Blake, you want to rebut some of the things that she just said.
Well, let's just do a quick Black history lesson here. The fact of saying that Jamaica and the Caribbean is not connected to slavery, you might have forgotten.
Oh, no.
I never said that they're not connected to slavery. Their boat dropped them off at a different location. That's not what I'm saying.
But again, you're the
I thought we didn't want to talk about the lineage. I thought we didn't want to talk about that.
Let him cook.
You know, I know that you are a Trump surrogate or even Trump appointee or campaign, whatever it may be, but you can't ignore
for no one's campaign.
The facts. You can't ignore the facts that this is rhetoric. No, I'm actually trying to make sure I'm reminding myself I'm a reverend when.
Oh man.
He keeps and the Democrats, they don't be prepared for nothing. Stable internet. Good thing Trump was bringing broadband.
Reverend Blake, Reverend Blake, you're chopping in and out.
Oh man, it stopped to your previous point in respect to the brothers right there. It stopped previously because I wanted to pause to make sure I was intentional when I said there.
Gotcha.
To the point around immigration, the rhetoric is that
yeah, you got all right. You got to get his
These comments are very interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you can. Your connection is getting interrupted. I'm not sure if there's a stronger Wi-Fi or maybe there might be messages coming in. I know after the debate, I'm sure your phone is going crazy. It looks clear now. You want to try again?
Yeah, just simply, they don't have a real plan. It's just lies and nonsense. So we should go to other things you want to talk through, because all they want to do is make sure and make you think that Black people and Latino people and white folks don't want to get along on immigration.
All right. So, I mean, you came in. I'm interested in that 90-minute debate. What after it's done, your initial reaction to it was what? As far as Vice President Harris, how she conducted herself, how former President Trump, how he handled himself. We talked about the word unhinged, but prior to you coming on, what were your thoughts overall about the debate from the Democratic side? And I guess I'll hear from the opposing side as well.
She laid out how people can make more money, keep more money, and do better. He never took a responsibility for January 6th, for the COVID pandemic, or anything that was hurting our communities. She made it very clear that we should give anyone the ability to make a choice when it comes to pro-choice. He would not actually answer the question when asked twice about vetoing an abortion ban. She said small businesses should have $50,000 of deductions. He literally said that while running for a third-time president, he doesn't have a plan for health care. So we can remove the rhetoric and the talking points and the feelings. If you want to do better, live longer, make more money, have a chance to actually grow and win, you had someone who laid out a vision for that in Vice President Harris. On the other side, as a black man, Donald Trump, whose family was sued because they wouldn't let black and brown people get access to housing, who called for the death penalty to Central Park 5, who said that we come from shithole countries and that these black jobs and Hispanic jobs are low-wage jobs, still can't tell you at all how you specifically will do better. He spent more time talking about people eating pets than how you actually get a job. So when we talk about the debate and making it real clear for folks, their strategy, his strategy, is not about trying to help more people to do better. It's that they believe that black and brown folk will not show up to vote, that they're not going to be engaged, that we're not going to be engaged, because he had no game plan. I mean, in what world, what business plan would you ever be in a conversation where someone actually asks you, do you have a plan? And your answer was, no, I have concepts. On something like healthcare. And so to your question, it was clear, it was obvious, and that's the reason why we keep talking about the Kairos. This is our moment to make it very plain and simple that his disdain for us, which has been consistent for decades, not just an election. It's not me saying it. It's him who said twice about African-American, black, and Hispanic jobs being low-wage jobs. It's him who said that he would not give you an answer about an abortion ban, and the vetoing of it, and the rhetoric that is about pro-life. It's not pro-life, pro-choice by itself. It's, do you have a choice? Are you saying to someone about them having a choice? It's the reason from a data perspective to bring this home. It is the largest gap when it comes to choice between two candidates on record ever. Because it's not just Democratic women that are feeling this. It's Republican independent women who are just like, oh, hell no, we ain't trying to do this. And so for the next 55 days, you can ask yourself, everybody, you had a vice president who was at the Capitol when an insurrection was called on the Capitol, where he would not directly say, would you actually accept the results if this occurred again, and tell people to be actually truly peaceful? So at the end of the day, to your question, yeah, you know, I landed, I got delayed in itself. So yeah, the internet could try to slow you down, but God won't slow it down. We're going to be able to rock here. I've heard the points. For black folk, our choice is either someone who's actually trying to help us to grow and to win, or someone who has literally tried to call for us to be killed.
Okay, rebuttal.
Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about Kamala Harris. Why not? Kamala Harris, after they bounced Joe Biden and hit the Uno reverse, once they realized he wasn't going to be able to beat Donald Trump, and they removed him as their candidate, kind of like how Jamaal Bowman was here and now you're here. So I've gone up against two people tonight. It seems to happen a lot to Republicans. But the truth of the matter is, when Kamala Harris was the district attorney and when she was the attorney general, she was not a friend to our community. When I say not a friend, she created policies that are still in place today and helped to champion and advocate for policies that locked up people that look like us and that kept us in chains and in prison when we were supposed to be out. Kamala Harris wrote a book when she was a prosecutor, and she said that the more police in a community, the safer the community is going to be, that the visualization of police presence in that community is what is going to keep you safe. Now, she said that when she was a prosecutor, but then when she ran for president in 2020, she wanted to defund the police. Then she said she didn't want to defund the police, and now she says that she supports the police. The truth is that she's a flip flip-flopper, and she will say whatever is politically profitable for her to win. That's what she's always done, which is why on 21 different issues, she's flip-flopped back and forth. The truth is, it doesn't really matter what Kamala thinks. She's a symbol with no substance. A symbol of a Black woman, allegedly, sometimes Black first, sometimes Indian first. It depends on which audience it's gonna play better to, right? She'll do whatever is politically profitable to stay in a.
I'm not sure if that's fair.
I mean, are we doing this?
Yeah.
Allegedly a Black woman?
I mean, give basis to. So let's give.
American brother.
No. Let's just give basis to that statement.
Whole diatribe, and y'all interrupt me because you didn't like what I said.
It's not that I didn't like what you said. I just want to know the truth of what you said.
It's factual that when she ran for office, was she not considered the first Indian American? Was that not the headline? Google it.
It actually wasn't. It actually wasn't. I was the vice chair of the party. You just asked the question. It just
American. No, I'm just telling people to go and look it up.
What someone else wrote. You can
Kamala Harris, first Black VP. Whichever one plays better to the audience is what she will be. As opposed to saying I am the first.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let her go.
Good. Instead of saying each and every time, if they lead with Indian and she negates or doesn't add Black, then that's on her. If they lead with Black and she doesn't add Indian, then that is too on her. If her identity and the dimensionality of who she is intersectional at many different places, Black, Jamaican, Indian, whatever, Asian, whatever it is that she wants to be, she should lead with that each and every time, and it shouldn't be a question. And the reason why the Black community in particular feels this kind of way, because these conversations are happening, is because of the way in which she's led. She will say whatever and do whatever is politically profitable. And the truth is, she is the second most powerful person in the United States of America. If Joe Biden slipped and fell, which he tends to do quite often, she becomes president and commander in chief. That's the truth. And she's been in the White House for 3.5 years. And what they've done while they were there is create chaos. And I'm not even just talking about chaos on our home front. I'm talking about chaos abroad. We've had weak foreign affairs. We have a weak economy. They're fudging their job numbers. 816,000 jobs off. Like, they're fudging their job numbers. They're withholding stories from the media and controlling their own narratives. They're telling us that he's cognizant and he's the guy to take us all the way. And then we find out
allegedly they're fudging job numbers. Allegedly.
I mean, no, there was a mistake. They corrected it.
Well, the way you said it was like it's
alleged.
We don't know what their intentionality is.
So then if we don't know, then we gotta say it's alleged.
We don't know what their intentionality is. We know, should we be having those types of mistakes is the question that you have to ask yourself.
We see corporations do it all the time.
So then our federal government should do it? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. But that's why we're saying alleged.
I just want to make sure that that's not where you were going.
No, we're saying alleged is what we're saying.
We should be able to trust our federal government. We should be able to trust the agencies. We should be able to have a faith in them that they are going to take care of their citizens. We should have a trust in them that they're going to utilize the tax dollars that we give them in an efficient way. Like, those are things that we should just trust from our legislative and our executive branches. And the truth is that we can't trust them because career politicians like Joe Biden, career politicians like Kamala Harris, who have been in many positions of powers at every single level for years and years and years, promise to do all of these things all the time, and they do absolutely nothing. So if you feel your life is better off under Biden, if your pockets are fatter, if your business is doing well, if you got money to take your trips and you don't have an issue with inflation, you don't have an issue with gas prices, you don't have an issue with all of this money that we're utilizing to fund other wars and fund immigrants, then that's fine. Vote for her. We're gonna get a whole bunch of what we've always gotten, which is absolutely nothing.
We realize the reason why he's former President Trump is that the American people thought that he was such a disaster in running the government. So the notion of, well, the trust of the government and the services was because of how poorly he ran the COVID pandemic. to that complete degree. And so I am grateful that it has been said out loud that yes, when it comes to who do you trust for your government?
Yeah.
He lost because Americans don't trust him with the government. He is losing right now because Americans don't trust him on the government. The polls, if the election were today in the battleground states, she is ahead in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Those three alone give her 270. So to the degree what was said, I am so happy that you just said it out loud.
Well,
this is a decision. We heard the talking points. This is a decision around. This is a decision around.
We were in the exact same place.
We gotta let him cook now. We gotta let him cook.
Exactly. We heard the talking points. This is a decision right now on. You just said it again. Make sure everyone focuses on the clip that was just said.
Yeah, focus.
As Americans, do you trust what the government is doing? He lost because folks don't. He is losing because people don't. And when he had a chance today, not about Joe Biden, he couldn't even remember who he was debating most of the time. When he had a chance today to say very specifically, do you take any responsibility around what happened with COVID? He said he did a great job. When he had a chance to take responsibility about what happened with the insurrection, where they tried to kill his vice president, he said, I told him to go peacefully. When he had a chance to literally say, no, I will not sustain what's happening. I will veto if a ban comes from a national abortion, because he literally flip-flopped. You're talking about changing positions. He flip-flopped in 24 hours in Florida because the polls were bad to him. He twice could not say that. So if we want to actually talk about the facts and what was going down, you have two clear choices here. You have a decision in which one person repeatedly, and Vice President Harris laid out what she would do for businesses and individuals.
There's a New York Times Siena poll that dropped yesterday that shows among Black voters in 2020, Trump has 7%. In 2024, he's up to 17%. There's a New York Times, there's a Siena poll that was released just yesterday. Among Latino voters in 2020, Trump was at like 30%. In 2024, he's at 42%. At the end of the day, if you're going to rely on polling like Hillary Clinton did in 2016, when she was ahead in all the polls, when they said that she had it in the bag and she didn't have it in the bag. I think the truth is that there is an undercurrent where I have never seen this many Black people say that they're going to vote for Trump. I've never seen this many Black people say that they want something other than her. I've just never seen it. I've not seen it. I didn't see it in 2020. So this is very new for me. And I think the truth is, and the reason why is because they're not satisfied with our current administration, and they're definitely not satisfied with her, and they don't feel like the economy is going well, and they don't like the decisions that are being made. And so at the end of the day, you can have a career politician who's going to tell you whatever it is that you want to hear and do absolutely nothing in office, when Democrats have been in the White House 12 of the last 16 years. So if there are things wrong, it's probably the people that's been in there more than a decade, as opposed to the man that was just in there 4 years, and 2 of the 4, we had a pandemic.
Just one quick thing, if I can.
Of course.
From a decision standpoint, it was said earlier about the vice president and her history around being a prosecutor. She chose to not pursue the death penalty when it could have destroyed a community. When on another side, you had someone who called for the death penalty when he knew the people were innocent.
Okay, we know where you're going here. What about the man that you didn't let out? When the
I already said
there you go. You don't want to talk about that. Do you support Kamala keeping
the vice president? Do I support the vice president? Say her title.
Her keeping Black men in jail when she was told to let the man out, and she didn't, and then the Court of Appeals had to come down and tell her to let him out. Do you support that type of behavior?
No. I heard your first question. So again, let's use facts. Right now, according to forward.us, there are more Black men graduating and going to prison. So again, if you come with your talking points, Come with someone who's not prepared.
I mean,
But
I think that's great, but that doesn't.
But again, I just
record.
because she's again the vice president. You just asked me a question, and I just
Hold on. So black men are graduating at an all-time high because Kamala's the vice president. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, let's do this.
Hot policies.
You guys represented your political parties, I think, very well. And we appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
It was a very insightful conversation. So
Indeed.
Reverend Blake, thank you. Whitley, thank you. I'm sure hopefully we'll be able to continue some dialogue with you guys as we lead up to this.
Well, we got 55 days?
Something like
55.
that.
55.
And all the people that are in the comments, we appreciate you.
Oh, it was a very spirited debate in the comments.
Yo,
the
man,
comments was going crazy.
It's zesty in the comments.
It's zesty in it, and we got black jobs to do tomorrow. So.
Yes, we do.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Respect. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Okay.
Well,
that was fun, man.
That was insightful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I think we should do more of these. It's almost midnight.
It is
and
here on the East Coast.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What's in the comments? What do you think?
I didn't get a chance to watch any reviews from the MSNBCs, the Fox News, the CNNs. I didn't see any of the ABC News. I'm interested to see. I feel like based on a couple of glimpses on social media, reading the comments here, I feel like people feel overwhelmingly that Trump did not perform tonight, and that.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Earn Your Leisure.
Oh, us.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in general.
I'm talking about Earn Your Leisure.
Yeah.
Somebody said my son Bowman is off that yak.
Yeah, they said they they got him walking out the bar.
They said he was going off that Don Julio.
yeah. Nah, that's too funny. Got him.
He's going on that 1942.
Man, shout out to the Bronx.
They say he's going off that 1942.
Shout out to my Reverend Blake, man. Jamaican American.
Whitley, she's sharp.
She's got energy. She definitely has energy.
She's sharp.
And she has her talking points well laid out. I give her a lot of credit.
That was entertaining.
Yeah.
Entertaining, for sure.
That's somebody that they should be having their eye on for the future of the party.
For sure.
Yeah.
They need to elevate her.
They definitely gonna need her.
Need to elevate her in the Republican Party for sure.
Now, how much of it was factual? That's another topic. But she definitely had points, talking points.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yo, how'd you feel when they first walked out? He wasn't gonna go shake her hand. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, go watch it back. He walked straight to the podium.
I saw it.
He walked straight to the podium. She kind of went over there and said her name.
She said her name and all that.
Yeah. I mean, all those things play part. He didn't look at her at all during the debate.
Well,
yeah.
What can you do? We'll be back on Monday with Market Mondays.
We're back tomorrow.
No, we're back tomorrow. Tomorrow's one of the ones. Blackout tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Shout out to Ian.
This is late.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in Houston, man. They might have a hurricane, so
yeah, prayers up.
Prayers up to everybody in Houston. But shout out to Ian. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we don't take no days off. We don't take no days off.
And we on the road tomorrow.
Blackout's gonna be crazy too.
We on the road.
But all right, guys. It's been real.
Love is love, y'all. Be good.
See you tomorrow.
History was made tonight. Peace.